We are set for the first heat of men, as the participants in the first of two heats have made their way out onto the competition floor. I'm Sean Woodland with Adrian Conway. Kiki Dixon's down on the competition floor. Gondola, presented by Concept 2, is event number 7. Nine men in this opening heat. Heinrich Happelainen has had to withdraw due to an injury, so lane 1 will be empty. Start with one trip down that pegboard.
Now the question is, will we see any different approaches here from the men than we did from the women? The keys here are going to be about the same, Sean. The focus here is going to be around these interference limiters. I mean, Laura did a great job teeing us up for it, but it's, gosh, the sequence of this from the pegboard to the ski erg to the GHD, it really has a redundancy vibe. The muscle groups that are being taxed and challenged, they build upon one another. A lot of interference, and then they got to be composed. We're starting to see it early already. These guys missing some pegs, but they hold on with the one hand, remain composed, and keep charging forward.
Sam Cornway is the first man done with the pegboard. He's onto the the ski erg. 60 calories here for the men. Here comes Saxon Panchik to join Cornway. Bjorgvin Karl Gudmundsson, James Sprague, and Jona Koski now are all done as well. And there's Sam Cornway, 15th place overall coming into this event. So everybody has gotten through the pegboard except for Georges Kervis in lane 10. He's the only man who hasn't completed this thing. He's already halfway through, though.
Kervis, a rookie, first-timer. Again, not a complete surprise to see the newbies in sometimes a familiar situation where a new implement comes out. They might not be as experienced with the newness or the unknown when it comes to head-to-head competition, and so they got to learn on the fly. A lot of times those lessons don't come easy.
Sam Cornway continues to lead.
Now, I will say, Sean, this was a familiar scene for the women's of their last heat as well, right? Everybody kind of got the ski erg on that first round. They had it there. It was crowded here, and then after that, some of the separation really started to come into play as they make their way back through the GHD into the second pegboard.
There's Jorge Fernandez, who got into this event via the online qualifier, and right now he's sitting in 12th place overall. He's had a great competition.
Yeah, one of those athletes who we've seen at the CrossFit Games on a team, having great success, winning the CrossFit Games previously, and wants to be able to pursue the individual side as well.
Cornway in the gray shirt on the left side, he's your leader. He's got 22 calories left now. Got to hit that 62 rep mark on the scoreboard on the left side of your screen before he heads to the GHD for his set of 60. 24-minute time cap in this event. There's Jona Koski, 13th place overall coming in.
And all these men have that internal motivation to want to pop their way into the top 10 here, make their way through the next two events, into that final heat, put themselves on the biggest opportunity to, of course, have higher placings.
And Koski's only 30 points back and Chandler Smith for 10th, and we've seen that this event can put the leaderboard in a shaker cup and fix it up significantly. And Cornway has 2 calories remaining. He's done. And he'll head to the GHD. And Jona Koski able to make up some ground on Cornway. The two of them leading here early on. First time these athletes are on the GHD, 60 reps here.
Again, we talked about how significant the cycle rate of these GHDs can be, knowing they'll accumulate 60 in this first round. Jona and Sam both moving. Jona at just a slightly faster clip. Jona with his hips on the far side of the GHD, honestly executing these the way that you teach it. Coming back with a soft knee, extending his leg really hard to sit up, Again, that takes some of the pressure off his abs and puts it more on his legs and hip flexors, which if I had to pick, Sean, that's where I'd want the focus to be as well, because of the way that the upper body's taxed in so many of these other movements.
Sam Quant in third place in the heat right now, 16th place coming in.
These guys both doing a great job at efficiency and setup here. But now it's crowded at the GHDs.
Sam Quant's best finish at the Rogue Invitational came in 2022 when he took 8th place overall. This is his third appearance here at this event. As Cornway continues to lead, he's got to get to the 122 rep mark.
Yeah, Sam doesn't look like he's really going to relent much of a lead here on the GHDs. He and Jonas' cycle rates are very similar.
Jonakoski continues to hang close to Cornway.
Again, one of the differences, if you've been with us through the women's heat, is that you'll notice there are no risers under the men's hands. They have to go all the way to the ground to touch and then touch the pad at the top. Range of motion standard differs just a touch. Of course, most of the men are taller with longer arms.
Well, Cornway's done. He'll head back to the pegboard for his second crack at that thing. And here's Jonakoski, who is celebrating his 30th birthday today.
No better place to be than at Rogue, trying to get in a heat win on the birthday.
This is Koski's 4th appearance at the Rogue Invitational. His best finish was 11th in 2022, and he does have an event win here at this competition. Would love to add another here on a milestone of a birthday.
Sean, we see Sam Cornway really executing a smooth side-to-side glide, similar to what we saw from Laura. Not quite as accurate, but even when he misses, he's able to regather that momentum and continue on, one peg at a time.
Cornway trying to get this thing figured out. He's got left arm, got to get across that red line, and he got it. Koski and Cornway neck and neck into the second set of calories here. Now 40 they have to complete on the ski erg. They started to separate themselves from the pack. We'll keep an eye on Sam Quant as he was in third place behind these guys as they got to the pegboard. Quant is in the back in the black and yellow shorts there, hanging from the pegboard. He's on the second half of that thing. Noah Olsen taking a break. Meanwhile, Georges Carabas behind Olsen there is trying to complete his first trip across the pegboard.
Great composure there by Sam Quant. We talk about how important that was as a key in this event, is keeping your composure, and he did just that. He hung completely only from that left hand. Looked like he was going to come down, but he stayed with it and made it through.
Koski is leading Cornway right now. Saxon Panchik, Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson, and James Sprague, and now Sam Quant also onto their second set of ski erg calories. Again, 40 reps they need to complete at the 164 rep mark is when Koski and company will move back to the GHD for a second time.
Quant doing a great job sending his knees back as he hinges. This creates more tension through your lats and allows your upper body to reward you more with each stroke of the ski. So a bit of a different technique there. These guys all skiing at close to about the same frequency. You'll notice rep for rep there between Cornway and Koski. This is great. You want to keep the stroke rate high, and that allows you to pull with less force. Again, they're trying to save their hands, their grip. They're trying to save their abdominals. So they want to keep the stroke rate high and try to keep the power output to a moderate instead of keeping that high.
Koski has now 4 calories remaining. And he's done. Jonakoski back to the GHD. 40 reps here. And Sam Cornway will join him. So Cornway putting on a late charge there on the skier to close the gap between himself and Jonakoski.
Yeah, and that's his awareness. I mean, he's racing at this point. Like both these guys, they're not just, you know, there's a point in every event where you can watch some athletes, hey, if they're sticking to their own pace, staying in their own lane. Cornway made that move just to stay close enough to Koski to feel like he can make a charge when he's ready and when he can.
Approaching the 10-minute mark as Sam Quant will join Koski and Cornway on the GHDs. And bottom of your screen, that's Saxon Panchik. Sam Quant only has one finish inside the top 10. That came in event number 2 where he took 8th place overall. He's got 220 points, 16th place. Trying to work his way up the leaderboard here in the final 2 events. Final 3 events, actually, I should say. 2 events remain after this. Cornway and Koski pretty much dead even. Cornway's got a rep lead. And the 2 of them going back to the pegboard for their 3rd of 4 trips across this thing. Koski right to work.
Yeah, and we're familiar with Sam Cornway as a face in the competitive space, and it's easy to forget that this is his first Rogue Invitational. So he's certainly feeling the vibes. This is a new thing for Sam. Being out here at Rogue on a Sunday, no better environment to test your fitness. You see the difference right here in their approaches. Koski more of a strict approach to get from peg to peg. Cornway in the distance there, side to side, more the Tarzan swing, but they get the work done at a very similar pace.
One more GHD step for James Sprague as he makes his way back to the pegboard.
Koski changing his grip on his right hand every time he removes that peg. Cornway slips and he's going to have to go back to the beginning of the section. That is a huge no rep for Cornway.
That's devastating right there. It's one of those things where, I mean, he literally had gained himself about a 5 to 10 second lead had he gotten that last peg in. And of course now it turns into a huge deficit if Koski can finish, and he does.
And Yona Koski now all by himself in the lead as now Cornway has got to worry about Sam Quant creeping up on him for 2nd place. Sam Quant in the background there in the black and the yellow shorts. He's slightly behind Cornway here, who's making quick work of his 2nd attempt on this back half of the pegboard.
Wow, what a smooth action there by Sam, lightly bringing his hands off sometimes.
That's a great effort from Cornway. He's only now, what, 5 calories back of Koski, so he can make this up. We saw Cornway be faster on this than Koski was, and they were about even on the GHDs.
Yeah, and man, again, that was huge. That was a very clutch move by Sam there. It's the advantage of the swing that he does. It does reduce time under tension. A lot of athletes that are at the end of their muscle fatigue couldn't have got up and got another rep as quickly as he did. So really great job there by Sam.
Well, the problem for Cornway is that there's only 20 calories here. Koski's 4 away from finishing, so he doesn't have the time to kind of make that up. But let's take another look. I think this is the miss. And just look how close he was. His right hand just slips, and then he can't hold on with the left. That was so close. But really a great job of making up the ground he lost. As Yona Koski's onto the GHDs for the final time. He's got to complete 20.
Well, you know, hey, here's the thing. Just like we saw Sam fail, Yona does make that transverse just a touch slower than Sam pace-wise. So he'll need the buffer. If Sam can get there and close the gap a little here within the next 20 seconds, he'll need that time because Sam can pick up the speed there on his pegboards.
Cornway now moving to the GHD. Koski's almost done. He'll be finished at the 246 rep, and now he's got one final pegboard cross to go here before he can get himself across the finish line.
One more journey across the Zeus ring separates him from the first.
Saxon Panchik's now moved himself into 3rd place behind Cornway. He's in the bottom left-hand part of your screen. Koski right to work on his final pegboard.
Yeah, it's so interesting, right? What he's doing with his hand position, Sean, you mentioned it. He like takes them out, puts them in with his fingers, then places his whole palm on to stabilize and hold his grip every single rep.
Reaching the
not coming down.
Koski continuing to move here, as Cournoyer is now done with the GHDs, and he's onto the pegboard for the final time. Koski.
There we go.
Got to get the right hand over the red line and show control. Oof, that was close. That was close, but happy birthday to Koski. May have gotten a gift there, and he's in. 15:03.83 seconds for the 30-year-old.
And here comes Saxon.
Saxon Panchik and Sam Cournoyer, they're next to each other. Panchik looks like he's going to get there first. Cournoyer is just getting past the halfway point. So Saxon Panchik is going to lock up a second place finish in this heat as he makes his way across the finish line.
And Cournoyer, I think, just came down.
He's still in third place. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson is on the beginning now of his final trip across the pegboard. You saw Gudmundsson briefly on the left side of your screen.
We talk about that grip, folks. It is detrimental. When it's gone, it is gone. These men would not be standing around doing nothing if they if they had a choice to do otherwise. So they understand exactly where they're at. They got to make sure that they're ready. No failed reps can happen anymore for them to make sure that they continue to have the placing that they're currently in.
Here goes Cournoyer. Still plenty of time to go before we hit the 24-minute time cap. Oh,
hold tight.
Able to sort that out. That peg was kind of in a precarious situation, but Cournoyer fixes that.
This is going to be tight.
Gudmundsson, meanwhile, has yet to start. Oh, and Cournoyer's off. Another near miss for Sam.
So this is something that I would consider. Scrap the grips. On this, if you can, turn those things around, get your skin on the wood, it will allow you to re-grip easier. That separation, Sean, is a great thing to protect your skin, but it also creates a bit of a, it makes those pegs just a touch larger in your grip, and so it can definitely wear on you when it comes to fatigue. And if you're losing it and it's slipping out, sometimes it's better to have that skin against the peg if you still got all your skin.
Yeah, meanwhile, I think Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson was looking at his hands. He's going back to the grips.
Yeah. He had torn his, I believe, so he's got to have the protection.
And Noah Olsen's close to finishing up here as well. Olsen's halfway through his final trip across the pegboard. See Sam Kwong going back to the
look at him. I see you. I see you.
Olsen looking across at Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson and Sam Cournoyer now. So this is the fight for third place in the heat.
Everyone else shaking out the arms, looking with a look of paranoia in their face, and Noah Olsen giving the crowd the gun show and smiling like, hey, here we go. Let's give this a go.
Olsen ahead of Gudmundsson, who's on the far side of the floor in the gray shirt. Sam Cournoyer is also resting, so Olsen has
just a few more
clear waters ahead of him if he can get across that red line.
Patience has paid off as he puts the last couple of pegs into position.
No, Olsen's got it. Third place finish for Noah Olsen. And how about that?
A true showman always.
I think that might be the first time I've ever seen a backflip after someone coming across the finish line.
I'm with you, man. I agree. I don't think
that was impressive.
That was. I mean, look, I think he's just getting his legs back from that Iron Man he did last weekend.
And now Gudmundsson is done. Let's see if he pulls off a flip. No.
Listen, if BKT did a backflip, man, that would make my whole week. I'd be so surprised.
Yeah, he's taking out his hand. There's definitely some. It looks like some blood on the pinky side. Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson is just one of the most consistent athletes out there. You look back on that guy's career and everything that he's been able to accomplish. It's unbelievable that he's been at this level for this long.
Yep, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, a lot of people will tune into our sport, might not have an idea of who he is or what he's done, but he's going to be one of the fittest men in history because of his consistency at the CrossFit Games, what he does when he's there. He moves with a lot of silence. I want to be clear. I said I'd be really surprised if he did a backflip, not because I don't think he can, but it's just because it's not his style, it's not his flavor.
Now Sam Cornwallier is trying to close this thing out. He's had 2 really close calls. Jorge Fernandez is almost done. And Jorge Fernandez will make his way to the end of the floor and continues his strong showing here at the 2024 Rogue Invitational. Cornwallier's done.
Frustrating feeling there. You know, there's a sense of relief when these guys get across the finish line, of course, especially if they miss a few reps. But man, that's frustrating for someone like Sam, who had such a clean run, good opportunity for a great finish there, and then he feels like, ah, man, I missed it.
Now James Sprague, the 2024 CrossFit Games champion, has half a pegboard to go, along with Sam Quant. James Sprague trying to work his way into the top 10. He's the 11th place overall. He's only 5 points back of Chandler Smith for that final spot inside the top 10.
All right. He's getting close, ladies and gentlemen. You're going to get behind him. There.
Nice.
Sprague got it.
Ladies and gentlemen, stepping over the line, James Sprague.
21:47.44 seconds for Sprague. Is now Quant is trying to finish things up. He's got 2 minutes to go. Georgia Karavis, meanwhile, has yet to finish his first rep or complete trip across the pegboard.
Sam got a nice, almost like a double swing. He's using that same kind of momentum we've seen from other athletes. He's just holding on for a whole nother swing, make sure he gets where he needs to go.
And Sam Quant is in. But leaves Georges Karavis with 1:20 to see if he can get through this thing.
All in one. Let's make some noise for Georgos.
And they'll certainly have the crowd behind him to see what he can do here. He's got to be a little patient. Make sure that his hands and grip are going to be ready. Give it one more good try.
In a minute.
.45 seconds to go for Karavis.
Come on, Aberdeen. I know it's Sunday. A little quiet out there. Let's get behind Georgos as he fights to finish this pegboard traverse with 30 seconds.
Yes.
I can tell you what, after watching this, there are a lot of gyms out there with pegboards that are mounted vertically that are going to find a way to go sideways with that.
20 seconds.
Certainly something fun to consider. This is that accuracy element it looks like Karavis was struggling with. It's not a grip thing for him necessarily, or it's not a strength thing. All these men that took the floor more than capable. It was simply dialing in the skill and the accuracy to transverse horizontally.
2, 1, time.
Yona Koski on his 30th birthday gets a heat win, 15:03.83 seconds, and why not? Noah Olson's going to hit another one.
Great job, boys. That was incredible.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are
Appreciate you, man.
Oh, Yona with the 30 jersey. Happy birthday. Hey, and what a way to kick off the morning on his birthday. Yona Koski was consistent out the gate early. It was Sam Cornwallier who we thought was going to have a strong lead and continue on, but it was that slip that was beginning of many struggles for Sam. Yona continued with his consistency throughout, a little slower on his pegboard traverse, but he had no real misses or slip-ups that were devastating enough to put him at risk for anything but first place in this heat. And what a way to start a happy birthday.
Yonakotsu's been around the sport so long, you figured he'd be pushing 50 right now.
Just 30.
15:03.83 seconds. Saxon Panchik will finish in second place. Noah Olsen and his backflips take third, followed by Bjorn Carl Gudmundsson, who came in sub 20, and then Jorge Fernandez, with a really strong showing here in 2024, finishes in fifth. Second and final heat coming up next. Here are your overall standings coming in, and the top five remaining the same as they were last night. Jeff Adler with a 40-point lead over Ricky Garrard. Dallin Pepper is clinging to the third and final spot on the podium. He's only 10 points up on the Professor, who's going to retire after this competition. He would love to go out on the podium at the Rogue Invitational. Jason Hopper currently sits in fifth. Event 7 is Gondola, presented by Concept 2.
Yeah, and it is a doozy. We see these pegboards being a huge problem for a lot of people. Horizontal pegboards, they're going to have to transcend those 4 times, and they're separated by a large chunk of 60 calories on the first round, 40 on the second, 20 on the next of GHD sit-ups and CalErg skis.
Let's talk about the keys here now that you've seen 3 heats in total.
Man, the keys remain the same. You've got to be mindful of these interference limiters. You got to listen to your body. If you ski too fast, you're just going to simply get back to that pegboard before your grip is ready. And composure is king. You're going to have some slip-ups, even the best have, but it's who can remain calm on that one hand and get to the next peg hole and continue forward.
Mentioned Brent Fikowski, 4th place overall. May have something that he's been working on here with this pegboard.
Listen, we can only assume so. He's called the Professor for a reason, Sean. He's going to have something up his sleeve here for these pegboards. At least we can assume he's practiced, he's dialed, and we'll see what he brings to the table here when it comes to speed. It could be something new that we haven't seen yet.
The top men in the overall standings will be in the middle of the floor, lanes 4 through 7.
Stand by.
Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Keep an eye on Brent Fikowski. He's in the middle of your screen.
By the birthday boy, Yanakowski.
He's moving at a good clip, is Fikowski.
Yeah, and so here's the difference already we can see. If he's able to sustain this, what he's developed or started with is that he uses the same type of swing that we've seen from other athletes that are successful, except he's sliding that right hand forward in the middle of his swing.
Now he's got it going.
For a full swing, that's right.
And Brent Fikowski is through. Now to the skier for 60 calories. Fikowski trails Dallin Pepper by 10 points. That's only 2 spots in the overall results. So Dallin Pepper's got to stay close to Brent Fikowski, and Pepper's still working his way across for the first time. Nobody has joined Fikowski. Now here comes Chandler Smith in second place. And Chandler Smith, 10th place overall coming into the event. I got Guimayeros, Adler, Medeiros, Pepper, Garrard, and Crouch all on to the skier for the first time.
And we saw a lot of this in the first heat. Crowded ski ergs, crowded GHDs on that first round. And then as the interference becomes more of an issue, and what I mean by that is that when their grip gets tired, their abs are now tired, their lats are on fire from doing the ski erg, that's when we really see the race start to begin at that second pegboard transcend.
Brent with an interesting technique here on the skier.
Yeah, he's going a couple linear, like straight up and down, and then he gets what we call a butterfly stroke, where he waves his arms out to the side. Now, what this can do is create some variance. You'll understand that by just switching things up, creates a little bit of a break from the muscle group that's getting smoked.
Got to get to the 62 rep mark. This is Brent Fikowski. He's now 6 calories ahead of Chandler Smith. Dallin Pepper currently sits in third, so that's good for Pepper as he again looks to hang on to that 10-point lead that he's got over Fikowski for the third and final spot on the podium. There is Ricky Garrard, currently in second place overall. 2 event wins, and both of them came at the expense of Jeff Adler edging him out at the finish.
Yeah, Sean, and I have a feeling we're going to have some exciting finishes even for this. The way that most of these athletes were able to navigate that first pegboard, it tells me that it's going to be a tight race. We noticed Ricky was even looking over his shoulder to try to get a glance at Jeff's ski erg. they're going to be trying to stay head-to-head and close to one another throughout this whole entire series of movements.
Jeff Adler on the right side, he is your overall leader. He only has one finish outside of the top 5. That came last night in the dual 4. And he won event 3 Braveheart on Friday night with those wall walk complexes and the heavy back squats. So Brent Fikowski now has about 10 calories remaining.
Again, what you'll see as we watch this is this same pattern of movement while these guys are standing, that hinge at the hip, strong flex of the abs, arms overhead. We're going to see the exact same thing be mirrored on the GHD sit-up, and that's where the real challenge starts to present itself. Everyone's feeling fresh on round 1, but now these 2 movements back-to-back going into this next pegboard, that's where we get to see who's the real deal.
Now Fikowski to the 60 GHD sit-ups. Chandler Smith is done. He's going to join Brent on that apparatus. And Dallin Pepper's next.
We have an 8-rep lead.
Dallin has a good ability to cycle GHDs historically, Sean, so this could be a place too that if the race gets really tight, he could start to make some moves with the fast up and down action. Right now, most athletes are going to try to be a bit conservative here to try to think about the next pegboard climb too.
Jason Hopper, Pat Vellner, and Justin Medeiros are all on their first set of GHDs. Now Guimayeros joins them. So much tighter here in this heat than we've seen in the prior heats.
Medeiros at the top of your screen right now is one of the fastest GHD cyclers that we've got. He's made moves on athletes several times due to his ability to cycle from the ground up and back down. You'll notice he's got his hips more on top towards the front of the pads, and again, that allows him to really send his upper body down to touch quick and then pull himself up with his legs each and every time. He and Pat Vellner, though, are going almost rep for rep right here at about the same rate, so Pat's doing a great job at holding Justin's pace.
Brent Fikowski has 20 reps remaining. 122 is the mark he's got to hit before he heads back to the pegboard. Fikowski in the middle of your screen, black shorts, no shirt. He's coming off a second place finish last night in the dual 4. That was fun to watch in that battle between him and Guimayeros in the final round of that event.
Oh yeah, that was amazing, man, and honestly, not one that I'd have picked Brent for. He came out charging, clean execution, really seized the moment, and that's what I like about his history as an athlete, is he really responds well to pressure from a general perspective.
Well, Chandler Smith is right behind Brent Fikowski. Fikowski is wasting no time here. Chandler Smith is still yet to begin his second trip across the pegboard. Here he goes. And Justin Medeiros is now in 4th place as Dallin Pepper preceded him off the GHDs. And Brent Fikowski is done. Back to the ski erg for the professor. 40 calories.
Wasting no time at all. These athletes on transition.
He's going to try to make it to 164 on his score. 164 will get him off that ski erg.
Well, Ricky Garrard is towards the back of this heat. Garrard in 2nd place. He's only 30 points up on Dallin Pepper. So keep an eye on that. Ricky's got to gain some ground here to protect that lead and hang on to 2nd place overall. Jeff Adler on the right has moved into 3rd behind Chandler Smith and Brent Fikowski, as Chandler Smith has just gotten to work on his 2nd set of calories on the ski erg. Adler's done. Jay Crouch is onto the ski erg. Pepper and Hopper there. And Justin Medeiros, as Ricky Garrard is falling farther behind here.
Adler, though, he is currently sitting in 1st place for a reason, as he is back onto the skier.
Ricky having to actually pull himself up to make the next pegboard or peg hole each time. And that adds a little bit of extra fatigue to the biceps, to the forearms, versus we've seen a lot of the other athletes that are having more success at more speed. They're keeping their arms long and using that side-to-side momentum like we've seen Brent do.
Well, Fikowski still has a comfortable lead here as he's working through his 40 calories on the skier. Once he hits 164 reps, that's when he will go back for his second set of GHDs, and the pegboard has been absolutely no problem for him.
Yeah.
Just at the 8-minute marker, reminder that time would be 15:03 since by Janikowski.
Dallin really covered some ground there on the skier to close the gap between him and Chandler Smith. They're now rep for rep, joined by Hopper. Jake Crouch not far behind.
Brent Fikowski's always done well at chippers during his career.
Yep. Sean, he's got a great engine, which means his heart and his lungs are really strong. He can go long, but local muscle endurance, where there's so much interference here, the abs, the lats, the grip, he can also push through that very, very well.
Dallin Pepper is in third place and way ahead of Ricky Garrard. As Pepper is not only trying to hang on to third, but maybe overtake Garrard for second. But things are going to be looking a lot different on the overall standings right now if this holds following this event as Pepper moves to the GHD. 40 reps he's got to complete as Chandler Smith has now fallen back into third. Jason Hopper at the far end of the floor, tied with Chandler Smith right now. Jake Crouch moving to the GHDs along with Jeff Adler and Justin Medeiros.
Chandler not moving at a blistering pace on those GHDs, but long wingspan, so he's able to get back up to the top and touch that pad pretty quick.
There is Jake Crouch, 8th place overall. He took third last night in that dual 4. 3 of his last 4 events have been 4th or better. Fikowski now with 6 remaining.
5 more reps to go for Fikowski.
And he should make quick work of the final round here. There's Ricky Garrard, who is in last place in this heat. And don't forget about those times from the prior heat. It's all the men in that heat, except for Georges Karavis, got across the finish line.
That's right, that's right. And Sean, just to think back to our last heat winner, Jonah Fikowski. I'm looking at Brent. Janikowski, it took him about 1 minute and 16 seconds to get across that pegboard on his second time. Brent's last one, it took him 21.
I mean, Brent Fikowski is just ripping through this thing.
It's the pace, that lateral side-to-side movement, and him sneaking that right hand right to the left in the middle of the swing. It's even faster than what we saw from Horvath.
Fikowski back to the skier for the final time. Garrard, we mentioned, in last place. Dallin Pepper is now onto the pegboard for the 3rd time.
We got a 3-way tie for second as Medeiros, Hopper.
There's Jason Hopper, who currently sits in 5th. Now, this is another guy that can benefit from what's going on with Ricky Garrard right now. Hopper with 405 points.
Yep.
He's only 45 back of Pepper for 3rd.
Medeiros.
And this is exactly what we hope to see from Jason. We know throughout his whole career, Jason's got the physical tools. He's fit, he's tough, he's strong. Can he respond to pressure in the right way to break through a plateau like we've seen from him year in, year out at the 7th place mark, Sean? That's what he's trying to answer right now today.
You saw that he's finished 7th every time he's been at this competition.
It looks like Smith. Back to the
Meanwhile, Brent Fikowski's closing out his final set of calories on the skier. He's 3 calories away from doing that as Hopper has got to get that left hand sorted to bring the right hand over across that red line. He's got that peg jammed in there.
Come on, Jason. Wow. I was feeling that one for him. I think I held my breath right there for about 30 seconds.
Well, Ricky Garrard is falling farther back here. Remember, Georges Karavis in Heat 1 was the only man who didn't finish this event. So those times are going to be a big factor as Ricky Garrard might fall out of the top 5.
Well, this is tough, too. A guy like him, clearly he's more than aware of what's happening around him. But if he's not ready to hit that pegboard again, there's no reason for him to have urgency to go there to fail a rep, right? Especially when it looks like he's about to get lapped here soon by the professor. He's just leisurely having a good time.
Well, Brent Fikowski looking at an event win here. He's well ahead of Yonakoski's pace. 15:03.83, bottom left-hand part of your screen. That is the time to beat. Fikowski is done.
Wow. And he knows, man. He's like, I got one more of these. Sure, I'll do it just another time for you guys.
Here goes Brent Fikowski for the final time.
This being an event win for Fikowski.
Journey, I would say so.
He is not stopping on that final traverse.
I hope you took notes, kids. There's going to be a test later. Brent Fikowski wins event 7.
Wow. Bro, I mean, I got chills for that guy. What an amazing execution. He called his shot. He said, hey, make sure there's a camera on me on event 7. I got something for you guys. And he did not disappoint.
13:30.49 seconds. His 4th straight event of 6th or better, and Brent Fikowski looking to be inside the top 3 heading into the final 2 events. Here's Jeff Adler on his final pegboard trip. Jason Hopper in the background also is on the pegboard for the last time.
We got Chandler, Crouch, Adler, Hopper, Medeiros. They're all right there neck and neck.
The Chandler's at the bottom of your screen. This could be a sprint to the finish.
Crouch didn't come down there at the bottom of your screen either. He's rolling.
They are confidently over the line.
This is big for Jay. Wow.
There goes Jay Crouch. He'll take 2nd place in the event. His 2nd straight finish inside the top 3. And now Jason Hopper is in.
Great execution there by Mr. Hopper. Again, what exactly he needed to show and what we want to see from him is that consistency towards the top.
Well, Jeff Adler, this is good for him because the 2 men immediately behind him in the overall standings are still working. Dallin Pepper and Ricky Garrard is towards the back. Dallin Pepper, meanwhile, has fallen behind Garrard. Pepper back for his final round here. So Brent Fikowski could wind up in 2nd place overall, but a lot needs to be sorted out here because now times from the prior heats are starting to factor in.
Yeah, Ricky and Dallin are going to take a big hit here. The door of opportunity is opening up real wide.
Guimaeros is off. Sorry, Adrian. He's going to cross the finish line. And now Justin Medeiros is finished. Pat Vellner is just about done.
Patrick Vellner.
Oh, and he just struggled with that peg. You can see him trying to pull that left one out.
Yeah.
Still a lot of time left. 7 minutes until we hit the time cap. So Vellner's going to have plenty of time to get across the finish line.
Ricky going back to work. 3 athletes remaining.
It's hard to say, but it's really unpredictable, Sean, the way each thread of the peg feels. Like the way the peg fits in each one is really difficult to predict, and a lot of times you have to lift up to pull out because they get very hard to remove, especially on these new ones that haven't been used much.
Gerard is really close here.
There's one.
Oh, he just misses.
Go back to the middle of the pegboard.
Like I said,
He and Vellner had to retreat
it is so
back to the beginning of the second part. Dallin Pepper is now on to his final rep. So this event is really going to shake things up in the overall standings.
both at the halfway point. Trying to make sure they take enough rest to give a confident attempt.
We've seen this before today, Sean. A lot of frustration here from the athletes who do have that muscle failure. It's a stamina thing, and you can't just wish it back. You can't hope it back. You can't get upset. It's just nothing you can control. Shake your arms out. Try to remove as much of that blood as possible and get ready to get back to work.
Vellner and Pepper working through their final rep. Vellner slipping again. Able to get it sorted. And now Pat Vellner's done. Great recovery from Pat Vellner, and he's going to go right to the water.
We talk about a battle for points. This is big for Dallin Pepper. If he can squeak by Ricky here, he was a full round behind Ricky.
Yeah, great effort by Gerard here, as he, like Vellner, got right to the end before he slipped off, and it looks like he's going to get this one. But Ricky Gerard is in with plenty of time to spare. Now the question is, will he stay in second place overall? Because Brent Fikowski is going to pick up 100 points and a lot of help from Heat 1.
Yeah, with 200 points left on the board after this one, it is a wide open race for that podium here, with a lot of men going to be in a position to make some moves, especially with an unknown to come later today.
Pepper's through. So event 7 in the books. And it's Brent Fikowski picking up his first win of the competition. Second straight finish inside the top 2. And looks to put himself into a podium position with 2 events remaining.
Yeah, and he had that one in his back pocket, Sean. He knew that one was going to go well. I mean, he called it last night. You talk about some momentum. Second place finish to finish the day. And then he said, hey, tomorrow's going to go even better. So stay ready. And it was Brent right out of the gate that put us on notice. He told us before there was a little birdie that said, hey, I got something for you. 7's going to be a good one for me. And he is just soaking up every moment, especially on these that he can create for himself. A little breathing room, a little high-level execution, a cheeky grin on his face on the way to his first event win of the 2024 Rogue Invitational. And that's a 360, in case you didn't know.
So Brent Fikowski with a win and 100 points as a result. Jay Crouch is going to take second place. Yonakoski winds up in 4th after winning heat number 1. Jason Hopper, he looks to move closer to a spot inside the top 3. And Jeff Adler with that 5th place finish will hang on to the overall lead. Let's send it down to the competition floor. Kiki Dixon with your event winner, Brent Fikowski.
Brent Fikowski, congratulations on your event win here at the Rogue Invitational. I don't know if they could hear it back home, but the crowd was just giving you a customized cheer. How does that feel?
Yeah, pretty good. Yeah, thank you so much, guys. I mean, this crowd's been awesome. Everyone keeps saying it, but we're saying it for a reason. This is great.
The pegboard seemed to be an advantage for you. Why was that?
I've been practicing. I think if I had a $1, I guess, for every weird thing I've been practicing over the years, I'd I don't know, I guess I'd have enough to retire. So, and this is just one of those things I've practiced before, and it just turns out, finally got to use it. There's another 100 things I won't get to use, but paid off, and kind of nice to have a walk-off win there. Yeah.
This was one of the longer events that we've seen this weekend. What strategies were you using to manage your energy and your fatigue across this event?
Yeah, for this one, you know, it's just a balance between not going too hard in the middle two implements so that you're worrying about failing the pegboard. And luckily I had the skill on the pegboard. I could kind of push those two hard enough, and just keeping an eye on Chandler and the other guys, but was able to get a lead and had a nice conversation with my judge on the last set of GHDs, which usually you don't get to do, so it was fun. Yeah.
You mentioned having a lot of tricks in your bag, but it is time to kind of hang up some of that. This is your final event, as we discussed yesterday. Is there anything you'd like to say to the fans that are watching?
Oh, man, I mean, yeah, thank you. It's just, you know, I never planned on being a professional athlete, right? I was happy to go to school and finish volleyball when I was 20 years old and thought, okay, that's it, parents. Like, that's the last time you get to watch me play a sport. And now here we are, 33 years old, and still get to do this in front of a crowd. I'm just, thank you so much, everyone. This is great. Yeah, thank you.
And what would you say you've loved most about this journey that you've been on?
Yeah, I think it's the men and women in the back, right? It's like you only get to see them maybe twice a year, but they're some of your closest friends, and like it's the privilege and honor of my life to share the floor with them, without a doubt. And you know, I know if they're pushing hard in training, like I know how hard I've had to push and how much I've had to dedicate. I know if I've had to do that, I know they have, and I'm just so grateful to have them as friends. And yeah, it's just been so great to share this experience with them.
We have also enjoyed sharing this experience with you. Thank you so much, Brent Fikowski.
Thank you. Brent Fikowski has 2 events left in his career, and we'll see if he can close things out with a podium finish at the Rogue Invitational. 2 events remain here at the 2024 Rogue Invitational in Aberdeen, Scotland, and Brent Fikowski is moving up the leaderboard and maybe putting some pressure on Jeff Adler for the top spot. We have a lot more to come today, everybody. We're going to take a break. When we return, event number 8. Stay with us as our coverage continues in Aberdeen, Scotland.